Good morning, Rise. I feel so privileged to get to be sharing with you again about how God has been working in my life. And man, has he been challenging me. As many of you may know, I am finishing up my time in graduate school to become a physical therapist. And the final leg of my curriculum is my clinical work. So essentially, I work underneath different licensed physical therapists in different settings in order to hone my clinical skills and critical thinking to become an entry-level clinician. So my first terminal clinical was in an acute care setting in a hospital system back in January, and this was such a positive experience. They were so encouraging. I felt loved and supported, and this really grew my confidence to make me feel like I can do this. I can do this as a career. Differently, my current clinical experience couldn't be more stretching. I am working in 2 different clinical settings at the same time, pediatrics and orthopedics, under 2 very different therapists. I've been challenged to meet some very high expectations and learn at a faster pace due to splitting my time between these 2 settings, and I've been pushed outside of my comfort zone in ways that I did not expect. Most days I have walked into the clinic feeling incredibly anxious, like crippling anxiety, and I've walked out feeling so defeated based on just some difficult feedback that I've received and lack of affirmation in general. Lots of doubts and fears have swarmed my mind, making me feel very incapable. This was not the supportive atmosphere that I was hoping to walk into compared to my clinical experience that I had in January, and I went from feeling like I was really thriving and striving to feeling like I am just drowning. All the while, I have realized my deep need for Jesus more than ever. I have been physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted, and God has reminded me how he carries me through every single moment of the day. He's humbled me and shown me how he equips me with every thought, every exercise, and every word to say. He is the ultimate healer, not me. I think it's easy in healthcare to feel like you have this weight on your shoulder to fix people, but really it's all him. He gives me the tools to help the patients that are in front of me. I'll often find myself just saying, Jesus, Jesus, underneath my breath, just to carry me through the day. And that's when I really see God show up in power for me, realizing how truly helpless I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Nothing. So when we acknowledge our deep need to rely on him, he comes through in bigger and better ways than we could ever muster up on our own. And that has been my experience. And not only has God challenged me to recognize my own inadequacy, he's asked me to set my heart and my mind on him in deeper ways than I ever have before. This has been a season of insecurity, doubt, and fear for me, yet God has been using what feels like an incredible storm at times. I've been able to shift my gaze towards the Lord, has been through how loved and encouraged I have felt from this church family. I cannot thank you, and you know who you are, for the countless prayers, encouraging words, and texts, and love that you have poured over me. Rise, you are an atmosphere of love, and you have been the church that God has called us to be by continuing to lift me up and point me towards Christ and what he says in his word. In Jeremiah 17:7, it says, "But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him." And in Isaiah 26:3, it says, "You keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you." When we truly trust God, and I mean truly trust him, and set our hearts on Jesus, his promises, and what he says about us in his word, we can stand firm and have peace in the difficult seasons of our lives. We can walk in joy and hope, knowing that God is moving on our behalf when we feel like we are in the valley all on our own. We don't have to fall apart because he holds us together, and man, has that been the truth in my life right now. So, as we sing these next couple songs, I just really want them to be prayers from our hearts to cry out for more of God and declare our trust in him. No matter what situation any of you are walking through this morning, just let this be a moment that you can really declare his faithfulness, because he truly is faithful and he is going to show up for you no matter what you're walking through. So, would you please stand?